it.
Scrolling to the song.
From the cradle bars comes a beckoning voice, a send spinning. You have no choice. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, it's send spinning. You have no choice. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, it's send spinning. You have no choice. Following the footsteps of a ragdoll dance, we are entranced, spellbound. Following the footsteps of a ragdoll dance, we are entranced, spellbound, spellbound, spellbound. Oh, spellbound, 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 spellbound. And don't forget when your elders forget to say their prayers. Take 'em by the legs and throw 'em down the stairs. When you think your toys have gone berserk, it's an illusion. You cannot share. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, it's then spinning. You have no choice. Following the footsteps of a ragdoll dance, we are entranced, spellbound. Following the footsteps of a ragdoll dance, we are entranced, spellbound, spellbound, spellbound. Oh, spellbound, 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 spellbound. Following the steps of a ragdoll dance, we are entranced. Following the footsteps of a ragdoll dance, we are entranced, 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 dance, dance, dance. Black magic has risen in Witchwood. Their devilry takes place within our lonely woods. Such strange words and strange visions. Forbidden hymns to summon things one
should. Our children wait to hear that song. Rituals to explain every line. Black magic Black magic, so long forgotten.
customs remain, and the ancient gods live on.
Coven on Widdershins, radio for your spiritual side. A twisted approach to the left-hand path. We got a double shot of blood ceremony. Okay.
Well, we could segue into that in
Well,
just
okay.
a second.
Okay, we will.
Or I will segue into what you just said.
You just segue right away.
I have been tripping out this entire time that you've been playing, what, like 4 songs or something? Because the very first song you played Susie and the Banshees, Spellbound. I was just, for some reason, thinking of that song for like the last hour or so. And I was going to specifically ask you to play that one first. And then I thought, nah,
You
whatever.
failed to do
and I
so.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yet
And it
it
came
occurred.
on. It came on.
Yet it
Get
occurred.
Out, get
It
out.
occurred. And she asked, how did that happen? I said, what subject matter do we cover on this show? Why should we can't be shocked at these manifestations of our desire in the physical plane, or the fact that, you know, the person that does 20 tarot readings a month for you can read your mind.
You can't read my mind.
Wittershin.
I willed you to play it. That's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's
Then
how
also
it
we
works.
heard, I got to plug it because we heard double shot of a blood ceremony. And Marta always really liked the one song that we ever played,
The last one
Into
we
the
just
Coven.
played, yep.
And so I looked them up, and they had like 4 albums, and they're clearly a pagan band that's not namby-pamby.
Remember, we were
I thought they
talking
just had a
about
cool
that?
song about witches.
We were just
that,
talking
that
about
I liked.
that a
yes,
couple weeks ago.
Yes, and actually, one of our viewers, I guess I call them viewers because they see our rebroadcast on YouTube, and they gave a list of non-namby-pamby pagan bands that I need to go back there and figure out where I,
I need to get
saw
good
that.
about checking that.
Yeah,
I forget
yeah.
about my responsibilities.
I need to look those up because, you know, here this band, they're on iTunes. I'm amazed at some of the bands that I find on iTunes.
Do
but,
we know
but,
where they're from?
No, but
Okay.
Blood Ceremony. Check them out. They've got like 4 albums. One of their tracks that I didn't download today because I was out in the world and didn't have time to do that. I actually wanted to. Was Lord Summersisle, and to have such a song in your repertoire dates you in the pagan world. And you either understand what I just said or you don't. But they've apparently been around a while.
They're from Toronto, Canada.
From Toronto, Canada.
Ontario, Toronto,
Check out
Ontario,
Blood
Canada.
Ceremony.
Yeah.
You know, because I played them without permission anyways. So, you know, I should plug the fuck out of them.
Flute-tinged witch rock.
Yeah, flute-tinged witch rock. That's a genre I had not heard before. Are there other bands in that genre?
It's not a genre. It's
okay.
just how somebody described them. And there's
Okay.
quotes around.
I would agree. I liked that.
Yeah.
It's a good description. Adequate. Yeah, but check them out. They had all kinds of stuff that we will probably be playing. But they had 4 albums on iTunes, and I have to look up some of those bands that somebody suggested to us. What's the Sharon Knight's band? I forgot now. The one we would see. Pandemonium. They probably are on iTunes. They had some stuff that was had some meat to it.
Yep.
I might look that kind of stuff up.
Yep.
But we would play other bands too that we find spiritual, but and fit our theme. But these are people that are actually in our theme. So we talked about Sushi and the Banshees. How about that fucking moon? The moon. Last couple nights, this full moon.
I forgot to come out here to look at it. It was so huge on our way home. We were driving down Sunset, and the moon was like, bam, behind this cloud. It was beautiful, and then I meant to come up here and look at it, and something happened. I got distracted.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely tell you, for the last 2 nights, it's been really incredible, and the reason I know is because the damn things just kept me awake.
I've been awake, sleeping less as well.
And and my thing, I find myself, unable to sleep in the middle of the night. I got to go, chant in Greek and wave my arms around a little bit and do some witchcraft. And so, climb up here to the tower, half naked, and it's a powerful place to do that. And then go back to bed, and then a couple hours later, I'll be up again. Doing it again. So I don't know if you tried to throw on me in the last couple of days, man. It was bad timing.
I just go out to the living room and stare out the cityscape.
No, you got to come up to the. I don't know. The tower is
the
tower is so powerful, and the moon's just intense with all the glistening lights. Over there to the east, it looks like the Emerald City at night. I know it isn't. But from a distance, downtown Los Angeles, man, it looks like the Emerald City. It's just a beautiful paradise. but it isn't. But it's beautiful to look at from a distance with all the lights and shit.
Downtown's cool though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's has its issues, but
Yes,
nice place to go.
it has its issues. But yeah, so the moon's been intense. Technically, I guess last night would have been the last night of full.
Yeah.
So it's now on the waning side. I'm a moon child, so I don't know. Maybe I'm affected more than most people. But and I noticed our son getting up several times in the night. He's
Our
definitely a
sun
water
is,
child.
yeah, water and moon. Yep.
Moon, yeah, hella effective. So I don't know if y'all feeling that, but yeah, I've been feeling that. Long nights. So you'll have to forgive me if I drink enough IPAs during this show to be slurring by the end of the show, because I'm going to get some sleep tonight. And don't think you're going to throw on me, because I got my protection set up. I did that before I started drinking. That's the way you got to do that kind of thing. But yeah, last couple of nights have been long nights, but the moon's intense. So if it just, if the moon just
I'll
woke
make
me
sure I
up to
come
go
up
up
here.
and see it,
Yeah, I'll come up here.
that was worth the journey several times. And then,
Because I just stay in the living room.
I think the last time the moon was on the horizon, and then it gets bigger and it gets red from all the smog and all the fires in the region. So that was really incredible. And then, after
We
it
need to
went
start
down on the
using
horizon,
our,
I could sleep.
Instagram accounts more and post pictures of what it's like the moon
Yeah.
set from here.
Yeah. Need to take more pictures from the Wittersons Towers.
Yeah. We should have a Wittersons page on Instagram.
Yeah. And we got to do that, a Facebook page and all kinds of shit. And figure out how to automatically post to all of them.
Yeah.
That's what we got to do. But yeah, later down the road. Let's see. So it's September still.
Yeah.
Well, coming up, and we'll be plugging it tonight. The Conjure Gala is coming up this weekend in Denver. And I asked, and Amberzine was going to check, and I never actually heard. I don't know if there's still tickets available, so we'll plug it again tonight, because we do that kind of thing.
We'll let you know in a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
looking up right now.
But, if tickets aren't available, well, you should have listened to me like the last 20 billion times. I've been plugging it for months and months and months. But, yeah, happening this weekend. A lot of our friends traveling to Denver, Colorado for this incredible event, the Conjure Galas. I've talked about it before. Some of our early broadcasts about Tiger Gate and the endangered elephant in the room and all that. You can go back and hear all the chaos that went on, but a huge split, we would have to say, in the hoodoo communities made more stuff happen. And I don't know. I've seen that. Before I became involved in the hoodoo communities and saw that happen, I've seen that happen every time a witchcraft leaning towards Wicca group gets large. Gets large enough, it explodes. And my research, paying attention to these kinds of things, looking at cycles, ebbs, flows, patterns, things happening before me that reflect patterns in nature. That's being a witch to me. I've seen this happen several times in communities I was involved in, and then when I moved up to Santa Cruz, communities I was outside of, and I watched the same pattern happen from the outside. And the group becomes large enough to have power struggles within, faction fights, Wiccan groups, this person sleeping with that person. These things cause strife and splits and explosions. And eventually, I've seen several growingly large groups in my path in witchcraft explode as a result of these and many other things that just go on with people, you know.
Okay, it looks like it's letting me get tickets.
Okay, so all right, well, we will plug that
Before I go
more
too
tonight.
far, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
But,
okay. Yeah, don't
looks
buy
like
tickets.
it's letting
we
me
can't
do
go.
it. So
Okay.
I don't know how many are left, but I
So-
tried 2, and it's letting me.
Tickets still available for the Conjure Gala, we think. Let's see. So I've seen this thing happen in groups that I grew up in. Oh, hold on, we got ghetto birds going by. I can see them on the mics. They're kind of loud. We like that kind of sound here on Wittershins Radio. We like to be in the thick of it up on the Wittershins Tower. So I've seen these kind of things go on, and I've been a witch for a very long time. I can't really remember a time that I wasn't. And the time that I wasn't, I thought that way anyways. I just didn't know anybody thought that way. So I really can't think of a time that I wasn't a witch. So I grew up to be an observer of nature and the patterns in nature, and my craft was based on things that I would see in nature. I'd have to see these patterns reflected in nature for it to be a true magical concept. And after one of the last explosions of my apparent tradition, where this very same thing happened, power struggles going on, and then this person slept with that person, and then these huge power struggles broke out of that and exploded, and it seemed terrible. It was heartbreaking to see that happen to a community. I learned to step back and look at it from a distance, even though I was in it. And I remember arriving in Santa Cruz in the middle of the night, and I just kept driving up this fucking mountain into the middle of nowhere. I just pointed my car any place I didn't see any lights, and I just drove and drove and drove and drove and drove. And eventually, I saw a parking spot on a piece of dirt, and I parked there. And this piece of land became extremely sacred land to me, and actually the name where my store eventually derived its name from. I called it the Sacred Grove. And I derived a very specific incense recipe from that grove that I don't even know if I could duplicate. I'm going to have to make a trip to Santa Cruz to ever make that recipe again. But at any rate, I ended up in this incredible forest, and the moon was full and it's bright. And in the forest, the moon is just, it's devastating. You got to squint your eyes on a full moon. It's so fucking bright when you're up in the forest dark. And then this is my first time in the forest dark. I had just come up from fucking Long Beach. I just drove and drove and drove and drove and drove and drove and drove into the night and into the next night, and didn't really know where I was going, but somebody had said something about Santa Cruz and the mountains of Santa Cruz, and I saw it on a map. It was a Thomas guide, as I recall, and I followed that Thomas guide, and I ended up in the middle of fucking nowhere up this fucking mountain. And when the sun came up the next day, I saw this incredible forest, the most incredible forest I've ever seen, because it was the first forest I'd ever seen. The first time I ever saw a forest, it was in the dark, and it was like, a redwood forest, the most massive trees ever. But the spot I ended up in was the pine forest. It was higher up, and upon the coming of the dawn, I noticed all of the trees were burned. All of the trees were scorched beyond recognition. I thought it was dead. I thought this entire grove that I had been fucking frolicking in all fucking night was dead, because fire had happened. And I spent time there. And I ended up living down the road where I could hike there in about a half an hour. It was a hellish hike, but I ended up living down the road and spending all my time there and watching this grove become more and bigger and larger. And I thought about what I've been through. A pine forest only spreads its seeds through fire. And we think of it as devastating, and we're very sad for forest fires. We worry about the humans that live in the forest. But for the pine forest, that's just nature. The tree's not dead. The tree's scorched, but it was necessary to have that amount of heat to burst the pine cones, release the seeds, and the fire carries the seeds high up on the air and they go far away and procreate the pines.
Yes.
You're leaning forward. I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Okay. And shortly thereafter, I saw the scenario that I had just left take place in the only organized group in the Santa Cruz Mountains that I knew of, and it was called Redwood Circles. And it was the same scenario, and I was not in it. And I was able to watch it from outside and go, wow, this is a pattern I have seen before. And I think I learned something from nature about this pattern, having arrived on this land, and then I watched it happen. And sure enough, that explosion in that group led to many other groups.
Yeah.
Now, that's the Conjure Galas here. Just, different traditions, different people, same laws of nature applying. The group that everybody came together within became so large it made it easy for it to explode or implode. It just needed, one really bad incident and it was too large to stand. From that, there's at least the Conjure Galas. I don't know what else has sprung up from that. Their group is still going on. It actually made their group spring on into like 2 different festivals a year or something. One to attempt to compete with the Conjure Gala. I don't know if they're going to do that again.
The festival?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
Anyway.
know. I think she did it around the same time as the Big Apple one.
yeah.
I don't know about this next one.
Yeah, so I didn't hear that worked out. Bold strategy, but no. But so
And hopefully
That's-
there will be more Conjure Galas.
that's
all
not.
over.
It's not bad. These other groups springing off and not owning their allegiance to larger figures. That's nature. That's the shifting laws of nature. That's how this tends to work out. I've seen that in other traditions, and now I've seen it in these traditions. It's the same pattern, same stuff that happens to us. Groups get large enough where somebody wants to control us or have some authority over us, and eventually that reaches a breaking point, and it explodes. And where I've seen that, and not everybody wants to call themselves pagan. Pagan to me, means adhering to nature and the laws of nature. And a lot of these African traditions I know are more pagan than what I knew of as pagan. So it's going to happen there too. Maybe it's the laws of the pine tree. I don't know. What, you have anything to add? I'm pontificating.
To your
But-
palm tree? I mean,
No, pine tree. I don't know what happens to palm trees. I don't know what happens to palm trees in fire. Maybe I'm here to
I
watch
don't wanna-
that.
yeah,
No,
let's
knock
not
on wood.
find out.
Knock on wood.
No, God, I keep thinking palm trees, wanting to say palm trees, but no, I know nothing about pine trees.
Nature, is nourishing and horrific, and she'll just rip shit apart. The shit she rips apart. I have found in my lifetime, keeping an eye on these things, keeping track of these things, that the shit she rips apart, shit she destroys or creates, is done with the absolute wisdom beyond my wisdom ever. such a huge, bigger picture, and it's so much more perfect than I'll ever fucking get. That's my conclusion of trying to conclude all these fucking years. She knows exactly what she's fucking doing. You may not like it, and it may hurt, and it may be explosive and painful, but shit like that happens, and you know, I see that happen in these large groups, and they blow up, and seeds land elsewhere. And this is the second annual Mile High Contra Gala.
Yeah.
And there's a Mile High Contra Gala and the Big Apple. There's
Yeah,
another?
right now, no, well,
So there's just two so far.
there hopefully will be a third one and around here sometime.
Yeah.
But as far as the two official ones, yeah, it's just New York, Big Apple, and Mile High.
And I don't know if it's just Candelo's T-shirt or you know, he started a psychic association. I should have looked that up before I said it. The acronym is Tiger.
Okay.
The
it
Truly
stands for
Independent
No, okay. Truly Independent was G.
Group.
Truly Independent Group.
We should look. I should look that up on his page. I saw the T-shirt. It was he's going with a lot of T-shirts, but I should look it up. It's kind of funny, but and you know, it's kind of funny because this kind of thing that we covered on this show is like we just happened to start our own show a couple months before that shit turned, and then we had lots of material. Lots of stuff to talk about, lots of things going on, and sure enough, you know, we split from Blog Talk, and then Candelo's Corner, you know, went on hiatus, and then became the 12 o'clock somewhere show is Candelo's Corner. It happens like every day here on Spreaker, which reminds me, follow. You got to follow on Spreaker. I think you can follow us on iHeartRadio. You can follow us on YouTube. We're there too on Freakville 1309 channel, and other places coming up. Just figuring out other places where we're gonna post the show. But here, if you're on Spreaker and you click follow, you get notifications when we randomly go on the air, like we did Friday. We did Freaky Friday, and it was a good show, even though there was no plan and no material per se for Freaky Friday. We just did
We've been
it.
talking about going out to Hollywood Boulevard maybe on a Friday or something, taking our dog for a walk and broadcasting the show from there.
Yeah, we could do
I
that
think we should.
with our package.
Yeah.
Our large package on Spreaker allows us to do that. And you won't know it unless you follow. You can click follow. If you got Facebook or Twitter or any of those, you can use that account to sign you on in like 2 clicks. And if you're here listening to the live show, you can get in the chat room with all these. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the chat room
I
right now.
don't see what the Tiger acronym means. I can't find it.
He posted most recent one. He posted a pile of T-shirts. That he was ready for the Contra Gala, and the logo and the acronyms on the T-shirt. I think.
Huh.
Man, I can't believe nobody messaged me that yet. Let's see.
No.
All
Come on, people,
nobody
somebody's
in
gotta
the
know.
chat room seems to know. But anyway, it's happening this weekend. So. We'll officially plug the show, but if you could go to conjurgala.com, you can get tickets still, and we'll give the full plug later in the show. But tickets are still available.
Oh wait, I
as
got
far
it.
as we know. And Candelo's new
Tiger
group.
is truly independent, gifted, and empowered readers and spiritualists. So it's Tigers.
Yes.
Tiger. Yeah.
I don't know if
Truly
it's.
independent, gifted, and empowered readers and spiritualists.
And I've yet to ask Candelo about that. I don't know if it's just a T-shirt or if he's actually starting this group. But yeah, good time to do that. And that's
Tell him
the kind of thing that
to
happens.
break me off one.
Yeah. Well, let's see. All right, we're gonna play you
Okay.
some stuff.
I don't need to be a global citizen, cause I'm blessed by nationality. I'm a member of a growing populace, we enforce our popularity. There are things that seem to pull us under, and there are things that drag us down. But there's a power and a vital presence that's lurking all around. We got the American Jesus, see him on the interstate. We've got the American Jesus, he helped build the president's estate. I feel sorry for the Earth's population, cause some few live in the USA. At least the foreigners can copy our morality. They can visit but they cannot stay. Only precious few can garner the prosperity, and it's us long between incompetence. We got a place to go where we die, and the architect resides right here. We've got the American Jesus, fostering national faith. We've got the American Jesus, overwhelming millions every day. He's a farmer here in fields, reports the army wills, expressions on the faces of the starving millions, the power of the man, the few that drives the clan. He's the motive and the conscience of the murderer. He's a preacher on TV, the false sincerity, the formula that's written by the big computers and nuclear bombs, the kids with no moms, and I'm fearful that he's inside me. Yeah, we've got the American Jesus, see him on the interstate. We've got the American Jesus, exercising his authority. We've got the American Jesus, bolstering national faith. We've got the American Jesus, overwhelming millions every day. Yeah.
The Misfits on Widdershins Radio. And we play a lot of Misfits. Looking him up, and they said American horror punk. I didn't even know that was a thing, but yeah, I guess that's why it worked for me. Y'all gotta listen here, and I gotta make the text bigger because I can barely see it. But tickets are running out. Time's running out. If you want to make it to the Mile High Conjure Gala 2018, second annual Mile High Conjure Gala 2018, join the Master of Ceremonies, my friend, my bro, and host of the Candelo Kimbisa at the historical Lumber Baron Inn right in the heart of Denver, Colorado. Seminars will be given by esteemed practitioners but not limited to root work, conjure, and other spiritual paths. Presenters include Candelo Kimbisa, Beverly Smith, Professor Charles Porterfield, Michelle Jackson, Ambrosine Laguerre, Professor Ames, Michael Cardenas, and Hoodoo San Moise, who has been on our show, and how I learned how to say his name properly. Check it out. It's this weekend, 2 days only, September 29th and the 30th, 2018, the end of the month. It's Tuesday, man. Get some tickets, get some plans, get it going. What are you going to do for the weekend? That's what to do for the weekend. That's a memorable weekend. The Conjure Gala. I'm plugging the Conjure Gala.
I thought you were talking about Pagan Pride.
No, I haven't even gotten to that yet. But yeah, I guess plug that in the next show or something.
All right.
Or I can look it up, plug it on this show. Or you can look it up, plug it on this show.
Yeah.
I should be the only plugger. You've been known to plug too. Just saying.
Shut the fuck up.
You are listening to Widdershins Radio. So, we're talking on the show. I mean, the subject matter of the show is about the similarities in different spiritual paths.
We all come from the goddess.
Well, some come from an Orisha, and I'm not sure if that's the same thing. But, yeah. I've complications of late. I don't know what the fuck I am. I need to take another DNA test, but they reran the algorithm
I
of
know
the DNA
that I'm
test.
100% European.
Yeah,
That's not
but-
going to change.
But I don't know. If you still have that email, can you recheck those figures? Maybe the algorithm changed you too. I don't know.
I think I
But-
looked it up and I couldn't find it.
But the first DNA test I had, it's these vague results. It was like Macedonian and a couple of other weird things. And now I double checked that when I heard about this algorithm being changed, and everything was changed. I'm from everywhere except for America. Pretty much. I didn't think I thought I was not Asian or Latino.
Latin American?
And no, not apparently to the new algorithm. I'm a mutt from fucking mutt hell. So I need to get another one. I need some specifics. And I'm still Macedonian, whatever the fuck Macedonians is. Is that still a thing?
Well,
Is that just Greece?
It was a thing.
It was a thing,
was
but
a-
isn't it
you
just
know,
Greece now? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like modern day Greece and Albania.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of. But Greece and Albania.
But I've always said that every true witch has a skill with patterns that goes beyond normal skills. Hence why Marta's here. Not just because she was hot and stuff, but I saw the witch within, and that happens to be my turn on. Marta has a thing with language, even though English is her second language.
I tried to post, hop in a post story today, and it wouldn't show the story. It just
Yes.
kept showing what I pasted,
Yeah.
and wouldn't show up, and I was like, okay, there's something wrong. So I just looked at it, and right away I saw there was no space between time and HTTPS. So I just put a space in there, and poof, the article showed up.
So she's a
Does that
natural coder as well.
Apparently.
Because it was language, and to Marta, she sees language as a pattern. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a pattern to it, and it's not just spelling. It's not just punctuation. It's consistency, and she can look at just this huge amount of text and see all these things that are wrong, and fix it. And the real witches that I consider witches have that. Historically, those that hunted witches said these things about us. We were probably the original OCD people of the planet. We had this weird thing, and a lot of people was being able to track the patterns of the movements of the stars and the planets. That was really common. The patterns in divination, that was really common. But still, something beyond that was a witch to me. And to me, the reason why I think that's like, I track all patterns. It's like history is my pattern. Magical history is my thing. The thing that turns me on, the thing that floats my boat more than anything else. And thank the gods, or whatever you want to call them, that I found a way to get a job doing that, because I don't know what else would float my boat. I'd be in a miserable desk job. I'd fucking do it, and I'd bring home a check, and I'd be fucking miserable. But thank the gods that wasn't the case. Knock on wood and whatever you got.
I'd like to see you on a stripper pole or with a harness or something.
Well, we can do that without,
For
changing really much at all. We just
Okay.
need a pole. But that's TMI, people. And how you've just thrown me totally off. I'm all about magic and witchcraft, and have been as soon as I learned what it was. And I want to know where everything that I practice came from. I want to know how it got to me and the conditions under whence it came. And that makes it work more for me. So for me, I run into less problems with people bitching about cultural appropriation, because I'm totally respecting the culture. I want to know everything about that, especially if it's we live in an information age, and in recent years, many things that I've used my whole life, I've found came from different schools of magic, and now I need to know about that school of magic. I need to know how I got that through that school of magic, how they got it in the first place. I need to fucking follow the pattern. That's the witch mind for me. So it says I end up in the perfect place, the perfect time, the perfect mind for what I'm doing. But as such, I don't see a lot of problems that other people see, because I recognize that we exchange all these ideas, but magical communities, magical societies, traditionally all over the world, and I don't care where you're from, trade their ideas in secret through secret societies and readily exchange these ideas. There are always, everywhere in the world, that there are people that we would call witches, or a word of that equivalent. They're persecuted. They're hunted to this day in a lot of places in the world. Sometimes that word is just used to persecute people, and it was in the history of our people too. A lot of people, a lot of those people weren't witches, but people branded them as witches in order to persecute them. We find that everywhere we go. So magical ideas, spiritual ideas, were covert ideas and oft exchanged in covert ways in secret societies. In magic, people studying magic are always looking for hidden little gems in all the cultures of the world for their magic. I would just recommend that they respect that culture, learn about that culture, and then they're not appropriating. They're just, I guess, incorporating. I don't know. But the problem I have, Marta has the same problems. You know, I'm a witch proper, European proper, from my own tradition, and I have and am studying hoodoo, and I'm a Polero. So I'm in the middle on the whole fucking argument in the first place, because I'm seeing these things from different points. But if any of these practices that I'm practicing didn't jibe, thank you, with what I understand, I probably wouldn't readily adopt them. I've seen some of these practices as expansions on what I understood, but they were in line with what I've come to know from nature, from the universe, from magic, and the commonalities are much more than the differences. And early before I studied any of these other magics, and I was just studying my magic and the origins of paganism and from whence, you know, indigenous religions sprang all over the planet, I was always blown away with the cardinal points in indigenous religions all over the world. Either being the east wind, the west wind, the south wind, north wind, the earth, air, fire, water, variations, different types of ancestors standing in those quarters. But always in these traditions, those quarters were east, west, and south and north, the cardinal points. And indigenous cultures without compasses all over the world found these same things and made the central point of this crossroads, if you will, a religious point, a spiritual point in countless pagan religions. So it made sense when it was adopted in Gardner's Wicca and in neo-paganism. Made sense. When I see that, I think of that as the crossroads of the world, and when I come into hoodoo and these other African traditions, the crossroads, huge, important place where all things happen. Even I think voodoo, it's where you meet the devil to strike a deal. That's probably not real voodoo, but it's Hollywood voodoo. But everything happens at the crossroads. I've always seen the mapping off the cardinal points as a ritual space was mapping off the crossroads of the world. It's the crossroads of the magnetic field and the electrical field across the planet in whatever particular space you're in, but then further, all the way back, probably before, but all the way back to ancient Greece. And I say probably before, it's because Greece is where they really started writing shit down, and a lot of those ideas survive. But Hecate, prime goddess in the Greek pantheon, and prime goddess for all witches that I knew, all the way up until somewhere in the 90s when I noticed that a lot of people forgot who she was. Crossroads, and the reasons for being at the crossroads, I find a lot of the same reasons that I'm hearing for being at the crossroads in a lot of these other traditions. I've never seen that as a problem. I was taught about a very bunch of lofty things, and I've talked about these on my YouTube channel and other places, but they said these lofty philosophical things at you, and you were supposed to spend the rest of your life trying to figure out what those things meant. And a couple of those things were the craft is heard on the wind and seen in the wild. And you say, well, what does that mean? And they wouldn't answer you. And you'd ask later, they still wouldn't answer you. Your job was to figure out what that meant, because in that tradition they said that it is the search for wisdom that brings wisdom, never in the giving of knowledge. The giving of knowledge never brings wisdom. The search for wisdom brings wisdom. So we were supposed to figure out what those things meant. And I'll leave a lot of people to, figure out what those things mean for themselves. But there are things that I learned what those things meant, because I was taught as a classical witch. Wind was an element, and the element had tables associated with the element, characteristics of the element, broken down in very Western ways. The wild, that's nature. We had always been taught, and I still adhere to this day, if I do not see what you're telling me reflected in nature, I cannot follow it as a law. It's not a law of the craft. It's not a law of paganism. It's not a law of witchcraft, unless I see it reflected in nature. Unless you can, if I'm missing it, point it out to me. But I need to see that. It's seen in the wild. Heard on the wind. Well, that's huge. We're taught that in classical witchcraft. The wind, air, is electricity, is thought, is communication, is all these things. And I've found that ideas don't just float from person to person. They don't just float from interaction of culture to culture. They're literally born on the wind. They are floating around our planet. I've talked about this in some of my classes. There have been times when somebody files for a patent on an invention. At the same time, somebody else files for a patent on that same invention on the other side of the world, and they have never met or interacted or have no reason to know what the other knows. And this has happened. This has happened. You could look this kind of shit up. It happens. Ideas float. Some of these cultures that I've talked about that have mapped off often a circular space for their ritual to happen, and then the cardinal points of north, south, east, and west as a ritual space. Some of these Amazonian tribes that we've only come to know because humans are encroaching on their habitat, tribes that had no contact with other humans, unless we want to throw in the ancient aliens idea. Ideas born on the wind. And though our cultures are separated by water and whatnot, by large land masses and classes and whatnot, everybody seems to have come up with a lot of the same ideas. Ancestor worship, ancestor veneration, places where these things tend to happen, the crossroads. This is not just limited to African traditions. This has been around for a very long time, and I'm not saying that anybody originated it except the sky. Maybe our gods, maybe our spirits, maybe our thoughts. I don't know how this happens, but as I go on and I study, I find more things that ideas that are universal around the planet that have not been exchanged, by by people. And, you know, plenty that are. You know, I'm not saying, you know, culture appropriation doesn't happen or any of that shit. But there's other things that happen in magical communities, spiritual communities. We're receiving our communications and we're receiving our traditions from elsewhere. And quite possibly, maybe, the same where, if we can wrap our heads around that. You listen to Witter Shits. We'll be back.
What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What you gonna do when they show up in black suits on your street in army boots and then silence you? What you gonna say when they strip your rights away and the tax man makes you pay for every bit of sweat you've had today? We don't need to run and hide. We won't be pushed off to the side. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. Who you gonna trust when the judge is so unjust and the jury must discuss? Say you don't look like one of us. Where you gonna turn? Now the court has been adjourned and the lessons that you've learned are not as many as the bridges burn. We don't need to run and hide. We won't be pushed off to the side. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. We don't need to run and hide. We won't be pushed off to the side. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. Let's take back the power. Let's take back the power.
Stellar Corpses on Widdershins Radio. They were a local band in Santa Cruz. I'm not sure what they're doing these days, but I remember them well. I played that because somebody in the chat room mentioned like attracts like. Maybe that's what it is. I attract magical people. Like attracts like. I've gotten in trouble with what I'm about to say, so I'll try and say it differently. I do not say that Hermes originated what Hermes wrote, but the laws of magic attributed to Hermes back in, I believe it's Egypt, so technically it's African, Northern African. I've seen in every magical tradition that I know. And those traditions had no reason to interact with those ideas. So hence, the craft is born on the wind. It's thoughts. They float around. People have similar ideas. People have similar problems all over the world. And they come up with spirits, deities, to work with those things. All of the classical pagan deities were born out of need. You know, certain deities for harvests. A lot of the classical pagan deities of the British Isles and Ireland, most people don't even know because they're regional. They're for a certain, village. They're for a certain stream, a certain piece of land. This happens all over the world. People deify forces in nature and appease them to appease the land. This happens everywhere. And what the person was mentioning in the chat room was, like attracts like. Well, that's one of the more classic of the magical laws. The law of sympathetic magic. I see this practiced in every magic that I've known. Even, deep shamanic magic where people are, taking on the aspect of God or goddess or they're vesseling the spirit, or they're doing Misa and they're taking on the spirit, they're being ridden by the spirit. They enact the likeness of that. It attracts that, and that comes upon them. Same laws in all magical traditions. I'm not saying that anybody first wrote those laws, but they're somehow born on the wind. They're somehow seen in the wild. They somehow trigger parts of the universal subconscious to mean these same or similar things in all cultures. So if you're like burning things and waving your arms around, and you're manipulating twigs and sticks and roots, rocks, plants and shit to cause change in your universe, hey, you are my brother or my sister. And I don't care what tradition you're practicing. It's magic. It's witchcraft. Every culture had it. I think maybe we're all a universal subculture within all of these cultures. Every culture has their magic, their people that practice magic, their particular ways of magic, and everything that I've seen, the same rules apply. Universal laws that somehow traveled before man traveled. So I'm never giving credit to any particular culture. There are ideas that traveled with all of our indigenous ancestors everywhere in the world that have drastic similarities before people were traveling. So unless the ancient alien thing kicks in, there's no other fucking reason that I can explain for that to happen. Marta's back. Hi.
Hi.
She was down doing mom stuff.
Sorry, and I was getting dinner prepping and stuff.
Dinner stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah.
I'm checking our chat room topic. I was going to plug this before I forgot to plug this.
Pagan
'Cause
Pride?
I did the Mile High Conjure, then I'm doing Hex Fest, and then you got Pagan Pride right there, right?
I did.
I can read that too.
I think I gave up on you, but I could find it again.
Well, you weren't here. Well, this one you got plenty of time for, but you gotta plan. You gotta plan for this one. It's a big one. August 9th to the 11th, 2019. Hexfest, a weekend of witchery in Old New Orleans, presented by Brian Kane, Christian Day, and the Witches of New Orleans. Join in the magic. Tales of the magic of the Crescent City of New Orleans stretch back over the centuries. It's an enigmatic place where voodoo, hoodoo, witchcraft, and even Christianity blend at the crossroads of spirituality. On August 9th to the 11th, 2019, Brian Kane, Christian Day, and the Witches of New Orleans present Hexfest, a weekend of witchery held in the heart of the historic French Quarter. The conference opens with the Riverboat Ritual Dinner held on an authentic steamboat in the Mississippi River, followed by 2 full days of workshops, drumming, and ritual at the Bourbon's Orleans Hotel, a venue riddled with the history of hauntings. Hexfest has gathered witches, root workers, voodoo priests, and other magical teachers from within New Orleans and around the world to offer their time-honored wisdom between the workshops. Attendees will love the magical shopping in our on-site vending hall, where you can purchase powerful ritual tools, signed books, exquisite jewelry, and spellcrafts handmade by true practitioners. Okay, this is the part where I got to take a breath, take a drink. This is a long list.
Every time you name somebody you know, take a drink.
Okay. No. I won't make it. Presenters.
I'll take a drink.
Okay. Presenters for the 2019 hail from across the spectrum of witchcraft and magic. Our presenters include Brian Kane.
Okay, great.
Oh, she's got a drink. You better fill that glass, woman. Well, she's got to fill the glass. This would be crazy. She knows all these people. Hold on, Brian Kane.
I'll pace myself. This is the end of the bottle.
Ooh, she's going to finish the bottle for Hexfest 2019
Okay.
on Wittershin. Okay, so Brian Kane, you got
Yeah.
Christian Day, Dorothy Morrison,
Is it different? Okay, I don't know really.
Sarita Dieste,
Oh yeah.
Fiona Horn, Lady Rhea,
I let that slide.
Celia Ann, Sally Ann. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry, Sally Ann Glassman.
Oh, I know,
It
duh.
jumped over to the. Sorry. Okay, now she got a drink. All right, here you go. She's got a drink for this one. Hoodoo San Moise, Austin Shipley, Star Cassis,
Okay.
Rosemary Ellen Gilly, Byron Ballard, Christine Steffens, Dragon Ritual Drummers, Cario Crow, Laura Tempest Zakroff. She's got a drink. Mary Grace Faroon.
Please let them all be strangers now.
Okay, you really got a drink for this one.
Yeah.
Michael
Oh
Carell.
my god.
Big drink, baby. All right. Melissa Mayhem. You're going to drink for all these ones, I think. Patricia Telesco.
No.
No. Star Ravenhawk.
Nope.
Witch Doctor Utu.
Yeah.
Yeshe Matthews. Delve into the secrets of true magic and expand your knowledge of the hidden arts. Go to hexfest.com.
Oh, that was all of them.
That was all of them.
I took a small one for you because I was pacing myself, but I guess I should finish
No,
it.
well, normally I can't catch my breath, but I had to wait for you to drink that. Plenty of time.
Yeah, okay.
Plenty of time there. Hexfest 2019. Go to hexfest.com. Get tickets
Hopefully
now.
By next year, I'll know everybody on the list, and I'll have to drink an entire bottle.
Yeah. Well, I a lot of these people, since I don't know, Facebook is up in our grills, man. It knows all our shit. And if I talk to somebody on the phone, it suggests, maybe I know them.
Somebody posted on my feed that they were like kind of boxing in the air before bedtime, and they happened to be standing in front of their computer. And then the next time she went on Facebook, it started showing her all these ads for like boxing gloves.
Yeah.
So now I think she sticks a piece of tape over the camera now. It's just too freaky.
That is too freaky. But then, so, it will suggest these people, and I don't know these people. But it's like Utu Witch Doctor. I don't know what he practices. He's got some really cool profile pictures.
He's part. Well, I know that he's part of the Dragon Ritual Drummers.
Okay.
And I'm sure he has a practice, but I don't know what
Yeah,
that is.
but that's my thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what he does, but I'm sure we're brothers. Like, he lights stuff
From
on.
another mother.
I see him on pictures lighting stuff on fire, making shit happen. They're right there.
What
It's
could
like,
possibly happen?
I do that.
Yeah.
One of our students to this day refers to it as burning things and waving your arms around.
Waving your arms around and burning things. Or burning things and waving your arms around.
I thought it was burning things. Yeah, I would use burning things first. It's more
Okay.
dramatic.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, it's got a nicer ring to it.
Whatever tradition you're in, we do shit like that.
Yep.
We burn shit. We wave our arms around. A lot of the shit that's sacred all over the planet continues to be sacred all over the planet.
Controlled burn.
Yeah. Saps from sacred trees as incense. Everybody's doing that. Different trees, different incense. You got your frankincense, you got your myrrh, you got your dragon's blood, you got your
Benzoin.
your copals, your benzoins. They're all saps. I don't know why we don't burn maple syrup.
Because
Maybe
it's tasty.
Maybe do the pagans up in Canada do that?
I don't know, but the Chinese consume frankincense and myrrh and dragon's blood.
And some people eat it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You make it a tea out of it and you drink it.
Yeah.
And hematite and what's that other lodestone.
Lodestone?
You make a tea out of that too.
You're actually consuming the lodestone, or is
Put
the
the
lodestone just
lodestone-
affecting the tea?
You put the lodestone in boiling water and you boil it for a while. Like you put it like in one of those bags, for tea,
Yeah.
the white ones. And so you put it in there, you boil it for a prescribed amount of time, you take it out, and then you drink it.
Well, there was one. But I only ever saw two sources on it. But it was a lodestone. I got in a big argument with somebody I didn't particularly like, so I loved having the argument. But they were using a lodestone to repel, and right there, I just really had a problem. To me, a witch must know, and they must know a lot of things about the thing that they're using, and the thing about the lodestone. Historically, and find me something that argues, attracts iron, and it was used in some of the first compasses like a magnet, but a lodestone is not a magnet. A magnet is polar. A magnet has a positive and negative polarization. If you put two magnets together one way, they'll connect to each other. The other way, they'll push away from each other. The lodestone has nothing like that. And I'll tell you how I'm sure of that. It's because I've been carrying lodestones in a fucking jar in my shop for like 20 years, and still in my home shop, still they're in a jar, and there's never been once that a lodestone like jumped out or pushed away for another lodestone. I've had lodestones connected to other lodestones, plenty, but that's part of the point of why lodestones were used in magic and used in hoodoo and used in Santeria and probably voodoo too. I don't know. Everybody seems to have come upon the same thing, except for two people I ever ran across that had this argument with me. Lodestones attract. Magnets are not oft used in magic, at least by anybody I know that knows their magical stripes, unless they're utilizing the polarity of the magnets somehow. But I've yet to see that happen. Lodestones attract, and they attract iron. Why? Which is one of the reasons why I have several spells involving utilizing your blood on lodestones, is because of the iron content in the blood, and have even in some of my teachings recommended taking iron supplements before extracting your blood for lodestone work. Because of that, they're different than magnets. They're not the same thing. The laws of physics, the laws of metaphysics state this clearly. And the fact that I had to have that argument a couple times just somehow amuses me to this day. So let's see. I gotta hack into Marta's phone here. Let's see. And there. Okay. The other thing we got coming up, October, it's Pagan Pride Day around these parts, down here in Southern California. Here we're broadcasting from the Widdershins Tower in downtown Hollywood. But right in my hometown of Long Beach, they're having Pagan Pride Day, October 14th, 2018. Come and join us and meet some local pagans, learn about our practices, our beliefs, and make some new friends. Vendors, workshops, rituals, entertainment, a day of fun, education, entertainment, and hopefully enlightenment. We will build bridges of understanding both within our community and the wider world. Please bring food donation to help us celebrate and share our abundance. That's happening. Where did I gotta scroll from the location? Oh, there we go. Rainbow Lagoon. Oh, wow. I know where this is. Rainbow Lagoon. The parking is at Rainbow Lagoon, collected by the city. Carpools and public transportation are great options. God damn it. It'd be nice for you to tell me the location, because I'm going to have to look that up when I go there.
Oh, it doesn't tell you location? It tells you where the parking is.
It tells me where the parking is, and it just kind of ends.
Really?
It kind of ends right there. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, any rate, that's in Long Beach.
Here,
and I gotta
location
go.
is right here under location.
Rainbow Lagoon Park.
Rainbow Lagoon Park, East, is that East?
Right.
East Shoreline Drive, Long Beach, California, 90802.
Okay, that works. And then the parking, I think it's across the street. But I know where that is.
And
Rainbow
the parking
Lagoon
is,
Park.
they said, kind of expensive. It's $15 to $20, and they're encouraging carpooling.
All right.
But yeah, be prepared to pay for parking.
All right, so you're not a total asshole. Hit me up for a ride. Maybe we'll carpool. But I'll probably go to this one. Haven't been to one, and shit, it's in Long Beach.
And I can't
Who knows?
go.
I know.
But you'll get me something shiny, right?
always get you something shiny, honey.
All right.
And we'll bring our gargoyle dog and our son.
Yep.
Who knows who else? But Pagan Pride's coming up. And for most of my life, whether I, don't call myself Wiccan anymore or what, it's like pagan. Pagan's kind of been an umbrella for a lot of things. And not sure if it will, what our later umbrellas will be, but I've found all magical traditions being about nature, down to like root work. Root work, you gotta see the nature component right there, right?
That's why we like Paulo.
But yeah, and Paulo, I have often said in an entire life of paganism, Paulo is the most pagan path I ever saw. Everything, the connection to nature is way deeper than anything I ever saw. The Nganga is an earth. It's like the Noah's Ark of bones, trying to collect every bone from every species you possibly can. Dirts from hundreds and hundreds of different places around the earth. Sacred sticks. On and on. The feathers from many species of birds. It's like a Noah's Ark. It's like an earth. It's like a planet. And the stuff I've seen in Paulo so far is it's been more connected to the earth. I don't even know if I want to call them deities. The Inkisis. I guess Inkisis. The Impungos. They want to be by the earth. They want to be by the ground. They want to be on the ground. They want to be on some lofty place. We live in a tower. That's kind of hard to do. But so we bring in dirt, throw it on their heads, and make them feel home. Not really. All right, our chat room is just, I keep seeing people in there. Yep. People still talking. Oh, they're talking about the Santa Cruz tyrannical landlords. Oh my God.
Wait, who's talking about that?
2 Moons. Oh, hey, 2 Moons is in the chat room. Hi. We were just talking about her.
She has them in Santa Cruz.
I don't know what they're talking about. Let's see. We're gonna spy on the people in the chat room. Uncle Birch's spell to get a home. Oh, she's talking about. She's posted my spell to get a home. Oh, that's the Lodestone spell. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfected in Santa Cruz, the land of tyrannical landlords.
Oh, I see. That is really
I get
accurate.
it.
It's like
That is totally accurate.
Santa Cruz is a really good testing ground for that kind of thing. If you can make that work in Santa Cruz, you can make it work anywhere.
Absolutely.
Full show.
And I don't care who appropriates it. If you find somebody putting 3 drops of their blood on a lodestone and planting it in front of a house that they want, they got it from me. And I don't care.
The lodestone will be undisturbed. That's important.
Yes, burying it's most important. Any variations on that theme, they got it from me, and I'm totally cool. I don't ever need to know. I don't ever need credit. I love just hearing that. If somebody uses my shit out in the world, let them think it's theirs.
I think.
But it's a variation on other techniques, but that one's mine.
Just disclaimer. There was one time that we did that where it didn't work, but we got something way better than that like a day later.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Yeah. The business one?
No.
Which one?
Remember that like piece of shit in Grass Valley where the guy said
yeah. Yeah, sometimes your Aguns, your spirits, your gods, your goddesses, your Orishas, whatever you got, they run an interference with your stupid ass to keep you from doing stupid shit. And yeah, that was stupid shit. Although, I mean, we still ended up in Grass Valley. But it was
But our
it was,
house is
it
a
was
lot
better.
better.
It was a lot
Yeah.
better. It was livable for the time we were there.
Yeah.
And definitely not beyond that. Don't go to Grass Valley unless you're going to Grass Valley to visit Cult of Gemini.
And
Yeah, a witch store in
my
Grass Valley.
understanding is that it's getting a lot cooler. Like there's really
There's breweries now.
yeah, I think at least 2 breweries as soon
Yeah.
as we left, and a couple cool restaurants. And the one we didn't like closed, and a new one
Yeah.
took its place. And it's probably better there now.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we left, but it's probably better there.
But that was, you know, one of the only things keeping us going there was, you know, the different restaurants and pubs we could go to. And it's like, you know, that's expensive. And then it's like, yeah, home. Yeah. It was, you know, definitely in the forest. That was cool. Way too in the forest. There was fall and spring was really cool. That was probably it.
Well, I
winter was too winter.
I liked winter.
Yeah, but winter got to be too winter sometimes.
I liked it.
You liked it.
I'm in
You
my
didn't have to
element.
chop the wood, woman.
You don't have to chop the wood. You
I
got
chopped the wood.
cords. I got you a chainsaw.
When did we buy a cord?
I buy you a chainsaw, bitch.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Chainsaw was for different stuff, but yeah, okay. You did buy me a chainsaw, but a lot
And I
of that
gave
was
free
axe
acupuncture
work.
when you hurt your elbow chopping.
Well, you got to give me free acupuncture. I give you free readings all the time. Any wild ass thing you want to know about? It's
I
like,
give you
I
free
want a
stuff.
reading.
I give
Oh
you
yeah,
plenty of free
yes
stuff.
you do, baby. You're listening to Witterson's Radio, and what's I gonna play? Oh yeah, that.
Froggy Fresh 2012. Yeah, we back up in this. Y'all already know. Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I had to fight my whole life. I could beat you up even if you had 1,000 knives. Even if you had infinity knives, I would punch you up into the air like a kite. I bet you sleep with the night light, cause you're scared of the dark, cause you stink like a fart. Well, I like your fart on fire with my rhymes. You think I won't? I do it all the time. I bet I got more money than Jay-Z. Compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy. Plus Beyonce thinks that I'm cute. It's okay, Beyonce, I think you're cute too. I made out with so many girls. Made out with every girl in the world. I might look small, but I'm not. I don't care if you're big, I'll fight you. Well, I do know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she calls. Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I have 400 cars. I have 400 scars and 400 guitars. I have 400 houses. I have 400 mouses and 400 houses. Bet you I can dance better than you. I bet you don't know 2 plus 2. It's 4, it's 4. Now go and shut the door, cause nobody wants to see your face no more. I'm tough as nails, you're slower than a snail. I beat up every single person in jail. I dare you to try and punch me. My face is so hard you'll say, ouch, you crunched me. I fought 2 lions and 1. And I don't even carry a gun. But I never run. But I never run. But I never but I never run. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she called you know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. Froggy Fresh. I already told you back up in this 2012 to infinity. Get out of here. Peace.
The artist formerly known as Krispy Kreme. Froggy Fresh on Widdershins. So, a couple things before we finish off and rock out for the rest of the show. I have seen so many things similar, more than I have seen differences in the magical traditions of the world, and kind of why I just harken back to that Born on the Wind thing. People come up with similar ideas before cultures have contact. Hermes, the as above, so below thing. So many ways to take that. So many things, astrology, astronomy, all of that ties into what Hermes had to say, but other cultures were doing that too. They've been tracking the stars since the beginning of their culture. Everybody coming up on the same ideas. And that fascinates me more than the differences. It's like why people did that. As above, so below. It's like why people track the stars, and why the patterns of the stars had effect on us here. Why that was important. Why every culture on the planet was tracking that. And I'm looking over here in the chat room because they keep talking over here. Oh, lots of stuff going on in the chat room. But to me, I'm always more fascinated with the differences, with the similarities, and why people came up with the same ideas all over the world.
What?
Talking about as above, so below, and astrology, and why so many people track the stars, and that kind of thing. And there was when we started studying hoodoo, it was introduced to us as a new thing, and wasn't new to me. In the making of recipes, odd amounts of ingredients, so 3 different ingredients as opposed to 4. Odd ingredients were active, and even amounts were receptive. And they talked about that like it was a new thing. It was like, of course, I brought up that way my whole life. That's numerology. That's basic numerology. That's also expressed in numerology. So I understood it right away. That was already the way that I was making recipes. So it's expressed in other cultures in different ways, and we can all benefit from the different ways that the different cultures expressed it. And magically, that was kind of always my thing. It's like I'm looking at the chat room. It's kind of just the different ways that people came up with to express the same ideas. That always fascinated me, man. That always floats my boat. That gets me hard.
What?
That gets me hard. You know it. I've never seen that as a problem. So for me, I've spent more time finding the similarities in magical traditions around the world than I have found differences. And I could not do a show on the differences I found. I don't know of any. I can't pick any off the top of my head. You got any? I don't know. Checking the chat room. All right, you're listening to Widdershins. It's like 10 minutes left, so I think
Yeah.
I think we got to rock it.
Yep.
You want to rock it?
Yep, rock it.
Y'all want to rock it? Out there in the chat room and stuff, we got to rock it. Rock it. Moon's coming up right now.
Dance with me, my dear, on a floor of bones and skulls. Music is our master, the devil controls our souls. Swirling and swirling, the music all are turning, swaying to the sounds of a demonic beat. All dead, our partners all, we walk into the room, frightening but delighting our guests unearthly gloom. Cold blood in my veins grows, I've been too long uncaged. My body's in walking potions, like falling to the dust. Ring of death is on me like a halo to the gods. Bathed in mortal sorrow, my innocence is lost. Dance with me, my dear, on a floor of bones and skulls. The music is our master, the devil controls. Swirling and swirling, the music all are turning, swaying to the sounds of a demonic beat. The ring of death is on me like a halo to the god. I'm bathed in mortal sorrow, my innocence is lost. Long ago in a dusty village full of hunger, pain and strife, a man came forth with a vision of truth and the way to a better life. He was convinced he had the answer and he compelled people to follow along. But the hunger never vanished and the man was banished and the village dried up and died. At a time when wise men peered through glass tubes towards the sky, the heavens changed in predictable ways, and one man was able to find that he had thought he found the answer, and he was quick to write his revelation. But as they were scrutinized in his colleagues' eyes, he soon became a mockery. Don't tell me about the answer, 'cause then another one will come along soon. I don't believe you have the answer, searching never ends. It goes on and on and on for eternity. Don't tell me about the answer, 'cause then another one will come along soon. I don't believe you have the answer. I got ideas too. But if you got enough naivety and you got conviction, then the answer is perfect for you. The answer is perfect for you.
I come down the steps, I slip on the ice. Santa Claus been looking, who's been naughty, who's been nice. I'm looking for one thing real tonight. And Jesus, he comes up to me. Jesus, he sits down. He says, take this fucking cross off my back. I'm going downtown. I said, oh, but ain't that your uniform? He offers me a toke. He says 2,000 years is long enough for this particular joke. He says I'm looking for one thing real tonight. And I'm up here singing these songs every night. Sometimes I wanna just make them all up on the spot. Maybe they wouldn't rhyme too good, and they might not make sense. But then at least I wouldn't be repeating myself. I'm looking for one thing real tonight. And you're the one I've chosen, and I guess you've chosen me. Let's turn off the commercials. Let's turn off the TV. How well can we get to know each other in an hour? We can fight the daylight. We have that power. I'm looking for one thing real tonight. And Van Gogh sits next to me with a bucket full of paste. He rips off my ear and says, glue this to my face. I'd like to leave America for some place where they would not know a word of English, and I might be understood. I'm looking